Hi, this is James Athayanchik, the Black Knight of Talk Radio, inviting you to join me on the road to truth via the path of non-contradiction. Join us each week on Feet to the Fire, a show with the goals of examining a subject matter on its own merits and test how it stands up to the many possibilities found in reality. All without pre-drawn conclusions found in personal bias. No left or right wings here. No pounding the pulpit of ego-driven my way or the highway attitudes. But there are no free passes given either. Answers to questions are important, but equally important is the reasons and methods used to find the answer. The lack of contradiction is the final judge here on Feet to the Fire. Feet. Sunday evenings, 8 to 11 Eastern. Fire. How do you listen? www.feet2fire.com for more information. The views expressed in the following show are of the host, the guest, and the callers. The content of the following show, its accuracy, authenticity, and the ramifications of the use or application of said content is the responsibility of those speaking and listening, not the broadcast medium. Yep, pow, pow, pow. We're back and we're live. Feet to the Fire. I'm your host, James Athayanchik, the Black Knight of Talk Radio. I tell you, I have been sick. And I use the word sick, but I don't even know what happened. I put out a message last week. People were emailing me, like, what happened? And the best thing I could think of is toxicity. I changed to this new nutritional system called Fat for Fuel, which I was doing about 2 weeks when this hit. And boy, I tell you, I can't even describe. It's even kind of foggy. I mean, I was very weak. I ached all over, but nowhere. It was like a cloud of ache. And I was very weak. So I ended up taking off Friday and Monday from work. And all I did was, when I came home Thursday night, I just went to bed. All I did was bed, drink water, and pee for the next 30 days. Started to, I guess, maybe Saturday afternoon, I'm thinking it was a little better. Yeah, I went to the doctor on Monday, and he's a pretty good doctor. He's he's a life extension doctor. He's the kind of guy that has the knife if you need it, but puts it off to the side and works on nutrition and so forth. And the best he could come up with was the shock of doing this Fat for Fuel, because I was down to 20 carbs a day. And actually, I was feeling pretty good. You know, I lost weight, lost a lot of water. I felt great. And then, bam! The only thing I could think of is I was drinking these things. The camera here. And they're really good. And the thing is, there's no sugar in it. There's no chemical or what do you want to call it, like NutraSweet or nothing. It uses erythritol. 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 And I got some feedback from a listener who actually found some studies they were doing on this particular chemical. You know, even though it's a naturally based item, it's found in like grapes, for example. The amount is minuscule. So to put it in, it's 5 grams in there. But the paperwork says 30 to 50 grams a day is the quote, I don't know, where you get bad reactions. I was nowhere near that. Maybe 10. If they have 1 or 2 of those, two or three of those a day. And then, I don't know. So I don't know what happened. I've increased my carbs, keeping them well under 100, but probably was doing 2 to 3 before. And I feel better. I got some strength. I don't know. I don't know what to say. All I know is that I was saying to myself, gee, I wonder if this is what dying feels like. I mean, because it didn't feel terribly painful, but I was like losing control of my bladder or losing control of things. And I was like, what the heck's going on? So, a doctor reminded me that I'm not 35 anymore. That perhaps doing things dramatically changes or whatever might not be a great idea. But anyway, not to belabor this, I thought I'd explain it, though, because there are people who are regular tuning in. We got Omar and Elfant Shoes chat room. So it says they contain beneficial bacteria, and bacteria works inside your guts to protect. I don't know what is they contain. I don't know what the they is, but yeah, I was taking probiotics all along, and I've been drinking coconut milk, unsweetened. In fact, one of the benefits was, after doing this for 2 weeks, I lost my sweet tooth. And if I would have something sweet now, it'd be like, oh, is that sweet? And I can eat things that aren't sweet. And, I could taste more subtlety in the food. So, I don't know. I've also had this running theory, I got no proof, this is nothing, I'm not even saying it's the case, but that a lot of times illness is God's way of physically reprogramming DNA. Or maybe it's the body's way of doing it. Some people bring God in all the time. Some people don't bring him in enough. I don't know. I leave it open. But let's get to the items here. We do have a less visible commentary we'll cap it off with. Also, I want to mention, for those who've been following the show for years, you know this, but we're in our 15th year. For many of those years, when I was radio, or when I was just audio, I would do what a healing meditation. Somebody would send a name in from somebody who's ill or injured, and we would do this visual meditation for it. I haven't really done it. Maybe I did it once since we're doing YouTube. It's not that I won't. I don't know. Well, anyway, I got a request, an email, so we'll be doing that. And I kind of set up a visual thing. You're not supposed to be really watching anything. You're supposed to be listening, eyes closed. So, I don't know. Well, we'll do it. See what you think. And we'll put that before less visible, and then we'll bring him out. But let me get to some of the items. Let me go to my shorter Facebook link. Now, I apologize. They're not in order. I've tried to put things in order, and it's not worth it. But I actually put a bunch in order preparing here. So some will be in order, some won't be. But when I put together the links at the end of the broadcast underneath, down at the bottom, they'll be in some kind of a conceptual order. But Al Gore's coming out with his new movie, an inconvenient sequel, and this is a good article, Daily Caller, that goes through all the things that he predicted that didn't happen. And this is a load of baloney. Oh, we got some more people coming here. I apologize for not, I'm kind of one of these guys that can't do too many things at once. So, Hey Bird is in there. Oh, listening for years. Great. Nice to have you. Zindy. Yeah, I've seen that kombucha. I've seen that. Those drinks. They're fermented drinks. And in fact, I had a guest on a while back that explained one of the things that differentiate between modern man and Aboriginal man is a lack of fermented foods. And if you look across all cultures, there are. Well, yogurt, for example, would be fermented food, though not as tremendously fermented, but it's fermented. But the Japanese have this it's Korean? Okay. Kombucha, the drink.
And so we'll say Asia. It's an Asian deal. So they do have. I'll have to check it out. So I don't. It's not an excuse. It's kind of like a baby, but I got real things. A real narrow taste span. Though I will say, because of this cleaning of the palate or cleaning of the whatever, getting the sugar out of my system, maybe I'll do that. So going back to Al Gore, it's a good article talking about how the items that Al said would be in the first video didn't happen. Plus, it's just still basically trying to push this whole idea of carbon credits, which is about money. Al Gore happens to have his company he's a big part of happens to be one of the guys pushing to be the mechanism for carbon trading. A nice coincidence. When I addressed that to a person who's a global warming spokesperson type, or at least a person who is a follower of it and expresses it, I said, well, there's nothing wrong with someone having foresight and working on a business that also helps the world. And I'm thinking, like, well, it's also the foresight of working on a business and coming up with a bogus scenario to push the world into it. I'll leave this here for a second. I've been using this term, the neo-Bolsheviks, referring to the extreme left, and for that matter, part of the neocons. They're basically the same group. They just have a slightly different ideology, but they'll work together because the nationalist interests that Trump represents are against what they're doing. So they can team up with each other. But the Bolsheviks took over Russia, and they weren't Russian. They hated Russian. They hated Christians, driven by ethnic hatred and torturing and slaughtered millions of Russians without a shred of remorse. It's very important. If you notice Antifa and all this stuff, even the talking by media pundits, there's really an edge and a hate and no remorse. It's like they act like the opposition is complete unhuman, and they try to package it as being, calling them Nazis and whatnot, which is not true. In fact, they're more reminiscent of it. But what's good here is it cannot be overstated, Bolshevism committed the greatest human slaughter of all time. The fact that most of the world is ignorant and uncaring about this enormous crime is proof that the global media is in the hands of the perpetrators. Very Alexander Solzhenitsyn. Of course, we got to discredit all those Russians because you can see why, There's another line here, Obamacare only works if you don't. I want to mention some things. First, we all know that Congress does not have to follow Obamacare. And POL, which is a group I've been following now, it got some pretty good information. It's like a /POL/ on Twitter. Congress has classified themselves as a small business in order to have to avoid using Obamacare. What a bunch of, they're not going to repeal it. They're going to bury us in premiums, and of course they're exempt. McCain is the bad guy of the hour, and I have a whole list of them. I don't know if I'll go through all of them here, but I have a whole list of them on this Facebook page. I'll put all the links down below. Going through, here's an ad with McCain saying that John McCain is leading the fight to stop Obamacare. We have McCain being quoted by Scaramucci. I will lead the fight to repeal and replace Obamacare, Mr. McCain. And, of course, he added terms and conditions may apply. You also have Scott Baio uploaded this. Let me see if I can play this without having a big deal. Here we go.
This health care bill, repeal and replace, repeal and replace, repeal and replace, repeal and replace, repeal and replace. And if you don't, and then if you don't, we're going to repeal them.
There you go, huh?
This health care bill.
You don't repeal and replace, we're going to be in areas. Johnny boy. Oh, Johnny boy, the old Savannah's calling. So I have some more video, more posts. I don't know. See, I don't know what kind of big deal this is going to be. Oh, here's McCain. This is on McCain. It's not related to Obamacare. John McCain slams Obamacare administration for a move to allow transgenders in military. That's a headline. Now, the current headline, John McCain slams transgender ban in military. Just doing what he's told. Just doing what he's told, you know. But this is the big news story. I'm not going to go into detail on it because there are several videos that do such a fantastic job that I would be remiss to try and recreate it in a short time. The W. Wasserman Sots and the Pakistani IT scammers. Here are some links. We have National Review. But this is the one you really want to see. Stephen Molyneux, who goes through painstakingly detailed following of timelines, about an hour long. I know it's an hour. Make time for it. If you happen to be listening and are completely unaware about this, especially if you're left-leaning, that's kind of probably not going to happen with my support in the election. Most of the people flew the coop here who had that, but take the time to watch this. Molyneux does have some sarcastic remarks, and I wish people wouldn't do that when it comes to a serious truth dissertation, because egos the way they are, But if you're trying to get people hardcore, it doesn't matter what you do. Those are the Bolsheviks. Those are the ones who are committed to destroying the system. And it's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're correct. It doesn't matter if you're true. It doesn't matter. So, but I have the links here. I will put them at the bottom. If anybody's already subscribed to Stefan, you already know about this. If you're not subscribed, you should. He's got great resource. He has the intellect and the time, put together painstaking, logical arguments. It's good. Also, this is a rumor. I'm hoping it's just a rumor. But Steve Wasserman, W. brother, is supposed to oversee the Iran investigation. We'll have to see. Okay? But how is that even possible that a brother would be considered for this? If this actually happens, there's got to be some heads rolling, and I don't know, something. See, I got another comment here. Somebody. Oh, yeah, okay. Now, I just found this before the show. Wasserman's Schultz aide, there's Iran brothers, so there were a couple of brothers. They were mother, wives, and son. The son was making $160,000 from your taxpayer money. And the husbands and wives are all getting paid, $100K plus, all at the same time, while having access to all of these secure, sensitive data, and offloading the stuff onto another server, presumably to either sell or give to. So anyway, there's one of them is already in Pakistan. He's still liquidating his assets for millions of dollars. All this stuff is taxpayer money that was given to these guys. And talk about at least corruption and malfeasance, not to mention treason, if he indeed was uploading these things out of it. So Molyneux has got a great overview, detailed overview. And I also put up, Cernovich has a kind of a video once over on it. So I highly, highly, highly recommend it. That is, according to Molyneux, when he opens up, this is the biggest scandal in American political history. This is how deep and far and bad it goes. And they're still paying him after all this. So now Harry Potter's, this is another scandal thing. Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling got caught spreading a lie about Trump. Now, in a nutshell, there's a video out that shows him going over, shaking the hand of this wheelchair-bound, perhaps some type of mentally challenged boy who wanted to shake his hand. So it looks like Trump just ignored him. But that's the end of the video, when he came in to see him, the first thing he did was spend the most time with this child amongst all the other people he talked to, shaking his hand and saying hello and everything. And that's the first thing he did, and then he went to the other people. The video shows him coming back, and he went across the group and came back. And so he was coming back across the top, let's say. And so I don't know if in her defense, if there is such a defense, that she saw an edited video. Let's just say she did. She puts out this stuff, all this vile, this is terrible, he can't take the time to do this, a bunch of things. Well, then it was brought to the attention, she has to have seen this by now, people tweeting her, plus news stories, that the video was actually, truncated, that there was a longer vision, which showed him spending quite a bit of time with this child. She has never recanted it. So never deleted the tweet, never recanted it. So now after they didn't pass the ObamaCare repeal, I just want to repeal. I mean, people can argue about what to do later. Before Obamacare, we didn't have Obamacare. Okay. So if things have gotten worse, where Obamacare has to be brought in, okay, it did an absolutely terrible job about it. All right, so repeal it. If you want to work on something else, that's up to. But the part that kills me is the Republicans repealed it. I think I read somewhere Ron Paul had an article that they repealed it 60 times under Obama as president, and the President Obama would not sign the bill. So here comes in President Trump, who would be more than happy to sign a bill. They won't give it to him. So what does that tell you? It tells you that they don't want to do it anyways. All big posturing, knowing President Obama at the time would veto it. They can go home and go, well, I've been trying. You got to vote for me because I'm really in there fighting for you. And now, several of these people, when it came down to it, reversed their vote with no comments. I kind of spouted off. I said, Congress can't pass gas. All the rhinos need to be voted out of the primaries. Trump clearly won on several key issues. The Dems have become unprecedented partisan obstructionists, but what's the excuse for the Republicans? I guess I abbreviated that. R-E-B-U-P. Rebub. Many of which won on Trump's coattails. And then they ask why, It's because they want to do this. They want the expansion of government. They want the taxes. They want to do all this stuff. They want to bail out the insurance companies. They want to do all these things. That's why they're not passing it. So, and I got frustrated as I'm writing this. I'm going, what? So I'm saying it here, or I'm saying it there. So what? Well, all we have to do is we have to make sure in the states that these Republicans who voted against it, you have somebody run against them on Republican. Because if a Democrat wins, you're not going to be any help. They're all lockstep united. It's amazing. They are like walking joined at the hips at this. So you have to challenge them in the primaries and to get rid of them. Plus also the Democratic obstructionists who are they hate Trump. They want him out. That's it. They don't care. Trump can do fantastic stuff. They don't care. In fact, you talk to somebody who is a vehement hater, Trump hater, and say he hasn't done anything. He's done a bunch of stuff. In fact, I put up a link. Somebody wrote this. I think it was like the Caller, Daily Caller, or some article, some group wrote the 100-day mark, all the stuff that he did. So I guess this is the Ron Paul article here. Yeah, okay, this is the next thing I want to talk about. So now the Russian sanctions, it's just so ridiculous. And I'm so frustrated and aggravated that I could scream. And this tells you how the Congress is lockstep. You can call them Democrat, Republican, you can have the Rhino, you can have this. All these guys, except for 3 people in the House and 2 in the Senate, all voted to put sanctions on Russia and make it so that Trump can't change it without their, it's a veto-proof majority. And if he did veto it, and if he wanted to change the sanctions, he can't. And so he's trying to build bridges with Russia. You got the phony baloney Russian hacking stuff in the background. It's such an embarrassment. I could go online at any moment and show all kinds of Russians hacking my server. Plus, I can show Chinese, North Korean. What's the other one? Romanian is a big one for servers. You know, it's all baloney. Yeah, were they hacking in general? They're all hacking each other in general. In fact, the whole Vault 7 WikiLeaks shows how much the U.S. is hacking everybody and blaming it on everybody else. So they passed this, and it's like, and this is Ron Paul. I know Ron Paul, who I voted for in 2012. I wrote his name in. You know, he got laughed off stage, but he's the man. But see, you need somebody like Trump who's got the ego and to push through the Bolsheviks, because Ron Paul was just kind of like, well, if you don't want it, you know, here it is. And but Donald Trump was elected largely on his position of getting along with Russia. Amen. That's one of the three things that I wanted on him. There's more, but that's the three cornerstones. Syria, back off on the Syrian, don't support the rebels, you know, and it includes in making friends with Russia, you know. So I had this three-pronged thing. I said, Obamacare rates are killing me, the taxes are killing me, and the nuclear war just might kill me. So those are the three issues. And so Congress just goes along and goes like, well, no, we're going to do what we want anyway. And screw the American people, screw the president. And so it's disgusting. See what had happened. I'd like to see if Rand Paul, probably he's one of the three that didn't vote for it. It's just ridiculous. Now, I don't know, on a more, well, let me go back. There's a climate data is inconvenient for Gore. I should put that with the other one. I'll put these together. Shows that sea levels are dropping along with the miscellaneous information. So we're supposed to be drowning in the sea levels from the ice melting. All this ice is melting. Oh my gosh. Well, the sea level's falling. So where's the water going? Anyway, back to this. This is when, you know, this whole thing going on with the flat earth, it amazes me. It amazes me that this has any legs at all. I mean, Planet X is bad enough because the evidence for Planet X is ridiculous. You got pictures of the double sun in the sky, which is clearly a lens flare. They got pictures. No one can see it. They can see it. No one else can see it. It's as big as the sun, almost. No one can see it. You know, if Planet X was next to the sun, you'd see it all the time. I mean, these are such basic science stuff that I just, well, the flat earth is another one, right? So this was posted, I think it was Rob over at Jacked. Oh, gosh. No, I can't think of the name of it. What is it, Jacked In TV? What an idiot. They're running my show. I can't even remember. The Free Jack TV. Gosh. Rob's like, great, thanks. Anyway, I think he posted this, and what the guy did is they followed these power lines over Lake Pontchartrain. Pontchartrain. I'm going to say that wrong, but that's the way it goes. And they had a camera posted because he had to be far enough to see the curve of the earth and need a straight line. So they show these power lines going over the curve of the earth and down. And as people still argue it, I put it in there just for the heck of it. I think it's amazing. Yeah, here's the series that I mentioned about being pretty ill. I wrote this on July 23rd, and this is where we got Trish Moscow, was a longtime listener, and she put a bunch of stuff where they're actually taking tests and whatnot, people who are doing this. Now I want to get to an important part here before it gets too late. Bitcoin. Now I got Ray. Ray is a listener. He sends me emails, and he's been writing profusely about dumping Bitcoin, coming up with a bunch of leaks. What I will do is I will cut and paste his comments and his links. I don't know if I can cut and paste it into the description. It might be too long for YouTube. But if not, I'll put it in a PDF that you can download. You can look at his arguments. He writes in sort of a, I don't want to say a code, but he will purposely misspell lots of words, I guess, so the AIs can't read it. So when you look at all the misspells in there, it's intentional from what I understand. But he puts out all this stuff, and I want to put the information out so that people are aware. And it's kind of late because it's July 30th. And August 1st, they're supposed to force into play those who agree Bitcoin 2.0, which in basically the problem is that when you buy something from somebody, there's a fee to buy because it has to be, the Bitcoin is verified. And so a little portion goes to the Miners Association who verifies the Bitcoin through the blockchain. And since there's two things going on there. Now the amounts that are being used because Bitcoin is going up in value, even though they're small percentages, they're still like $1. If you buy something for $1, you're paying $1 surcharge. But I got some comments on that. So what they proposed is to come up with a different blockchain, a different method of verification, which is incompatible with the original, which is presenting a problem. If people don't agree on 2.0, some stay with, we'll call it 1.0, what'll end up happening is, let me just go here. What'll end up happening is you will have a split in the blockchain. Fork, I guess they call it a fork in the blockchain. So that if you go through the original way, you go through 2.0, these cannot interchange. You will always have to be verified in 2.0. You'll have to be verified in 1.0. Or perhaps you can switch from 1 to 2, but you can't go back. I forget which. And the reason why I think they're doing this is because Bitcoin is being misused. Now, not to worry, but because of the rise in the cost of Bitcoin, people are starting to day trade. That is, buy it, wait for it goes up, and then sell it. And it goes back down again, they buy it, and it goes up again. The problem with this day trading is it takes like a week for the trade to go through. Now, you do freeze the cost, the price. When you actually buy and sell, there's a buyer and a seller, and they agree. So that freezes the deal. But it has to go through this verification process, which takes time. Plus, if you're buying with money, there's also a delay in the transfer of the money, probably because it's not an official sanctioned system. So what they wanted to do is they want to come up with 2.0, which verifies it faster. But then there are two versions of this 2.0, a UASF and a UASHF. And even one of those is more unstable, and there's a worry about it. So the whole point is, the reason why they're doing this, I think, is to speed up the verification time. You might cut down the cost in that you can cut out the miner association, the miners, they call them miners, the groups that who have the machinery to verify the coin. So you got a legitimate coin. And so they might not want to be cut out, and they're trying to cut them out, and they're trying to make it faster and all this stuff. The problem being is that the Bitcoin, as it stands now, as it was intended, it tended to be by milk and eggs with it or whatever. But because the value of the Bitcoin has gone up so high, it is impractical. It'd be like having a $10,000 treasury bill and trying to go out and buy your groceries with it. Now, there's a way you can transfer the money. There's a way you can do it. It's not meant to do it that way. And I think Bitcoin has evolved to be a backbone currency, to be like a digital crypto T-bill, so that you would have Bitcoins being there's a limit of them. I think it's like 26 million max once they mine them all. And of course, a lot of them have been lost, so you'll never actually get that amount. And where other ones, Ripple, for example, is another cryptocurrency, and that's like 35 billion maximum issue based on the math behind that crypto. And there's other ones, Ethereum and Litecoin. So those are probably better for day-to-day operations, and the Bitcoin would be something like a T-bill. This is how I'm looking at it. So I was good, going back to this little clip here. Coinbase is where I purchased some of my cryptos, and they have decided to go back, stay with the 1.0, let's call it, which is very good to hear, very conservative. I like it. So what I'm hoping many do make this choice, because if it splits into two, it's going to cause a big mess. Now, what could happen with the big mess is the people who have Bitcoin 2.0, value may drop because of the insecurity and incompatibility with the time one, and the original Bitcoin could rise because people don't want to have the 2.0, they want the original. So the price could skyrocket and fall. But, of course, it could be the opposite. People want the 2.0 and they don't want to deal with the 1.0. So this is the big uncertainty. And what Ray has been pleading with me for weeks to sell. I have one coin. It's not like I have I can't afford to buy a bunch of them. But I did buy them a while ago, and I've already gone up quite a bit since I've had it. But I'm doing it long term. I'm not doing it so that down the road, you got people like John McAfee saying it's going to be, what was it, $500,000? No, or is it $50,000? $50,000? Or maybe it's $500,000. I don't know. $500,000 for a Bitcoin by 2020 is what he's saying. Of course, no one knows this because this is completely uncharted territory. I mean, this whole split, all of it's uncharted. Everything's uncharted about it. You could say whatever you want, people are going to buy and sell it. What's possible is somebody could buy them and hoard them, because there is only, and I say only, there will only be 26 million of them. So that's possible, but they're going to have to, people are going to have to sell them. And there's Bitcoins that have been mined and registered and never seen again for years because the people are just sitting on them, which you should be doing. And that could be actually used as a point where when you would pull your money out of your T-bill to pay off your mortgage or to buy a business or some kind of deal is when you would pull out your Bitcoin. Meanwhile, Ethereum, Litecoin, there's a bunch of them that are coming in. They're going to be vying probably because of the denominations. So that's what I wanted to say. I got a link here to the actual place that I use that explains all of the details of do it, and they're keeping the original format, which I was very pleased to see. Because what people should do is they have this, and lots of going on in the chat room. I don't mean to. I think they're just on their own little, talk. But what people need to do with their Bitcoins anyway is to watch some of these YouTubes how you can actually pull them offline and print them out on a sheet of paper and rescan them in with an app to reliquify it, if you will, and it'd be very safe. You cannot forget your passphrase, your key. Your key. You cannot lose or forget your key. If you don't have your key, that coin is dead, and there's nobody who can hack it or figure it out. You have to write it down somewhere. So there are YouTubes that tell you how you could take your Bitcoin, print it, and pull it off line completely, making it 100% safe from hacking. Even if they hack it, they still got to have the coin, the passphrase, the key. So all right. Now I passed this one up here. CIA plans to destroy some of its leak files. Oh, that's good. Let's just destroy the information we don't want to have. Okay, I think I caught up everything from there. Cernovich is putting together he's producing a movie called Hoax, The Media's War on the Truth. Looks very interesting. People can go to the Kickstarter. It's already past what he wanted, what he was looking for, so it's doing rather well. I'm looking forward to that coming out. Those people like Cernovich, Prosibik, those guys are really the new media. And I like putting them on the clips things. So I think I got to all the items. I mean, I have been down for a while, so I've missed things. But McCaine and Wasserman are my two favorites of the political thing. So, what's going on here? Let me go to the Twitter. Let me just look real time. Something amazing has come in. I didn't realize it. Oh, that's right. Priebus. I didn't even write anything down about that. Priebus is out and Kelly is in. Now, Kelly is Secretary of Homeland Security, and he's been moved to Chief of Staff. I don't get that. I'm thinking Homeland Security was a bigger position, but I'm guessing that what this says to me, I was just talking to Bruce Donald, who's a guy I know from Facebook. And we talk every so often. He's a pretty good guy to talk to. He was asking about what I thought of it, and it looks to me like Trump is. Here's what I would say. He got elected. He was trying to be gracious, right? So he's given Hillary, kind of backing off Hillary. They have a little agreement. They'll leave each other alone. So he's kind of backing off this. He goes to the Republicans who basically stiffed him most of the time. So I wouldn't say Priebus stiffed him, but that Priebus was in there keeping an eye on him. He reaches out to go work with the Republicans, brings in some of the people that they recommend, works out with the Obama people who were there, figuring like, okay, let's put it behind ourselves, let's go forward, and they just start going after him left and right. And so what I'm thinking, it finally sunk in. And now he's bringing his people that have proved himself in. And by bringing the, was it 4 or 5-star general who's the head of Homeland Security, making him chief of staff, tells me the guy's coming in to kick butt and take numbers. And they're going to clean out the house. And there's a sheriff in town who's going to grind you into dust if you're caught leaking or what have you. That's what that tells me. And Scaramucci, though, I tell you what, I'd rather have somebody who speaks out, perhaps in places and times he shouldn't, but is honest and consistent, and will apologize for messing. He talks to a reporter and he says some very relaxed comments that you might have outside of the official. It's like when you're watching a comic on television versus in a nightclub, right? Whatever. So he ends up being very relaxed, uses phraseologies I wouldn't, and he of course they write a story on it. I love it. I bet you this guy was just loving him. So he says he made a mistake of trusting a reporter. I'm like, at this state of the game, how this has been for blood, you don't trust, any of the reporters. So, but I'd rather have something like that there than some kind of backbiter. What would you call him? Beta male, passive aggressive, whatever. And it doesn't matter what gender. It's the format. So having the current lady Huckabee in there, she's pretty good. She's pretty straight up. And having him, I think, is good. They're very loyal to Trump. You have Kelly, who apparently has shown his loyalty over in abundance. So I'm thinking this is a good thing that he's circling in the wagons and he's going to battle against everybody. He's going to battle against the deep state. He's going to battle against the extremist left Bolsheviks, the neocon, who are, Bolsheviks with a different mask on. And he's doing this all for these principles for the American people. And it kills me that people, he's only thinking of himself. He's thinking of himself. Being trashed daily on most of the news services for stupid things. Anyway. So I'm hoping that it's good. I mean, Trump won't be able to change anything. Political won't change. Well, I don't want to get too superstitious or spiritual or whatever, but I can't help to think that what he's gone through at this point, that he's got some kind of spiritual juice there to clean some stuff. So maybe it's an answer to prayer. That's another thing. Before people start going, what, Trump? He's no saint. The saints have been whitewashed over the years for a purpose. To push him away and make him non-human so that nobody around us can ever be considered a saint. And when they do come up with saints, like this is Teresa or whatever, they're so removed from the human experience, and they're built up. You know, they're so it ends up happening like that. But the deal is that the aspects of it are you're going to have these groups inside that are going to be doing their things, everything from authoritarianism, police, to the deep state spying people, to all these people are going to be doing their thing, and it's going to be up to Trump, which is like superhuman, able to come in there and handle us all. And I think some things like this Russian sanction thing is terrible. But Trump's hands are tied. They wanted to pass ObamaCare. Trump can't get Obamacare passed. What is Trump supposed to do? Is he supposed to go in there and twist arms? He's supposed to start slapping McCaine in the side of the head where he had surgery to get him to say, yeah? I mean, what's he supposed to do? You go to the guy and say, I want this done, and they go, no. What are you going to do? You know, unless you're going to play deep state and start pulling out pictures of him with little kids or something, which is probably what's going on the other side. So it's like to blame Trump or credit Trump. I mean, all he can do is be a catalyst, bring some companies in, try to get tax reform, Obamacare. All has to be done by the Senate and which most of those people don't like him. I don't care whether you like him or not. I'm looking at what programs he wants to do, and I don't agree with turning the military up and all this stuff. I mean, you got to have a strong military, just as a deterrent. I got that, and maybe he's trying to earn the military support, because whoever the military supports wins, deep state or no. Because the one who I wrote a thing a while back. It's not the people who have the gold. It's not the people who have. It's the people who have the guns win in the end. Every time throughout all of history, now, you can have propaganda to try and emasculize, that's such a word, the fight back, but it comes down to guns. And so if you have the people who are in a lot of the states over in Europe have no guns. I wanted to ask, I was going to look up about Switzerland, because if I remember, Switzerland's part of their being a citizen there is you have to have guns. You have to be proficient in them, and they have a state militia where the people have caches of guns to use in case of, I guess an invasion of some type, or in case of something happening. The people will go get the guns, and I'm talking heavy guns too. So I'm wondering what's happening with the what would you call them, the refugees and the Islamic terrorist type ne'er-do-wells and all that in Switzerland. I've not heard anything about that. I've heard Sweden. We've heard of Sweden, France, all these other ones. And by the way, meanwhile in Poland and Slovenia and all those, they're not letting any of these refugees in, and they have no problems. 0 terrorist attacks. Zero rapes in the streets like this, other than the normal ones you would get in over time in any society where you have some ne'er-do-wells. So it's not racist. It's common sense. You take people who have very low IQs. They have no training. They have years of no training to IQs have atrophied, or so to speak. You have them brought into another country where they can't even speak, they can't even write their own language, let alone learn another one. Completely different cultures. A lot of them taught to be hostile to Christians. And Christians have been hostile to them in the past. I understand that. But I'm talking about what is here now. And you expect everything to go fine? But I want to find out if maybe somebody can send me some links or something about Switzerland to see what they're doing in all this, because I don't hear anything about them. So my guess is that they want to stay under the radar. They got their guns. They're either not taking any, or they're being very heavy, hard-handed with the refugee for no trouble. So that would be interesting. So let me see anything in the chat room that I'm missing that someone wants to Dirtman Jones. I kind of like Darth Vader. I kind of like somebody's name, Dirtman Jones. Sounds like a good blues guy. Dirtman Jones. Anyway, I think what we'll do here, we'll go through this meditation, and then we'll bring in Less Visible. Now, meditation, many people have been here. This is a video presentation. You might get bored. If you go along with the meditation, you won't be bored. But so we'll see. Starting to get some feedback on Switzerland. It's very expensive. So we'll start to see how this would work with the meditation. I want to go to this webpage first. While this is starting up. Let me go to the wide view. Now, years ago, I had interviewed Chuck Wild, who is the man behind Liquid Mind. And he used to be the producer of Max Headroom. Worked, 20-hour days and all this stuff. And had a emotional mental breakdown. Being a musician, he wrote a piece for his own meditation and healing, which is the first one we have, which is the one you're hearing now. And since then it's put out, I'm looking at this, apparently there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 CDs you can get now that have this very nice meditation for relaxing and healing. So if you want to go to liquidmindmusic.com and you can download some free tunes from him. But I'd really recommend stuff. I bought several CDs from him. He gave me a couple, when I did the interview, and I bought some more. And it's really good stuff. Good high quality stuff. It's very slow and nice, so you're not distracted by the music. You're not moved around by it. It's very subtle. It's like a gentle wind blowing. All right, so we got Omar here is a sound guy. So let me go from there to talking about the individual who we're going to be doing a healing meditation. His name is Soren Anderson. He's recovering from surgery. And it was sent in from Dave, longtime listener, and he's a longtime friend of Soren. And he wanted to do this healing meditation. Being a longtime listener, he knows that I've done this many times, hundreds of times over the years. So it's really, you're meant to close your eyes, but I put that there anyway. So if you take a deep breath, close your eyes, and hold the breath in for, a little bit of an extended period of time. Hold it in, not real long, but deliberately hold it in a little bit, and then let it out. And when you let it out kind of slow and deliberate. You bring the breath in, wait a second, you wait a couple of seconds, you bring the breath in slow and deliberate, you hold it for a few seconds, and you find that sweet spot of holding and both full lung and empty lung. You find that rhythm. It's going to be different for people. And so as you do this, you're closing your eyes, you're focusing on your breath. As you're breathing in, and you're holding it there, and you're letting it go. And there's a reason why this is very good to do. Not only does it bring in deeper amount of oxygen and get rid of the toxins, but also your mind is actually concentrating on this stuff rather than getting in the way, going, hey, should I go watch the basketball game or something? So you keep on doing this, and you hold it, and then you exhale. Then you hold the exhale, and then keep doing it. Just keep doing that all along this. Find that rhythm, that part where it brings you like a peace. You might get a little bit of a buzz from the oxygen, purity. Minor, everything's all minor, just natural, relax. You just keep doing this. In and out. And I'm not going to keep telling you. Just want to get you going. And as you're doing that, we're going to be using visualization, because the way the body works is, the mind and body works, is that you don't know, you have to, when you raise your hand, do you know how to raise your hand? I mean, you don't go in your mind to the hand raise button and push it and you turn it enough where it goes up. You just do it, right? You have created you've created a system of beyond visualization of, it's become so automatic, you just raise your hand. And what we're doing with the healing mechanisms and energies is using the visualization to be that cue to do these things. Now, it's possible if you practice for a long time and get real good at it, you can then do these things without visualizing it like you're raising your hand. But I'm going to go out on a limb and say most of us are to that point. And so this is why I'm saying the visualization. And you can do this on your own with a different visualization. Everyone's different, but I'm doing this here, so I'm going to use the one that I've been using for the last several years. And as you breathe in, I want you to start to exhale. Start to visualize in the center of your being, around where your heart is, give or take. Start to kind of visualize yourself and see a kind of a sunshine glowing light growing. I like the sunshine color because in our world it's light, it's life. Some say white, and some. I just like using sunshine because the entire world is alive only because of sunshine, and the biochemistry involved. But no sunlight, no life. And yet the sunlight itself is toxic. If you go out in space, you burn up. You go next to the sun, you can't get next to the sun. You evaporate well before it. But it's in a perfect position with our Earth's atmosphere, and here we have life. So as you're breathing in and breathing out, you see this all glowing. And it's like your breathing is like bellows. When you use bellows, when you open them, you blow air, and when you close them, you blow air. It pulls in air on both sides. So in a way, we're pulling in this energy, whether we're breathing in or whether we're exhaling. So we're like the bellows of God's energy. As you breathe in, this energy fills up in your system. You start to see it growing in your midsection. And as you breathe and continue, what you can do is start to see this light spreading down your arms, spreading up to your head, down to your legs, down to your feet. And as you keep breathing, you're filling up with this sunlight. I'm calling this it's the energy of the Holy Spirit, prana, chi. Various religions look at it and stuff, but this is not like the devil. This is not demons. This is you're pulling on a straw that you have inside you. It goes back to God. Nothing between you and God. It's an illusion to think that we're there. You may have lost sight of God. You may have forgotten about it. You may feel cut off. But there's a physical connection that you can reconnect with. Jesus is how I have. And by following these idea of prayer and meditation, you build this intimate connection better. So as you're breathing and filling, you're filling up. Eventually, you're going to be like full. You're going to be like glowing like burnished brass or bronze. Sound familiar, right? In Revelation. You're full now of this energy of God. It is cleaning and clearing all of your own energy, all your dead energy, your negativity. Any negative beings or entities that have been sucking off you, they just drift away. They fall off like leeches of salt. Just boom. It's the beautiful thing about these shadows. They disappear with light, with no effort at all on the light's part, and nothing can resist it on the shadow's part. So as you're cleaning and getting yourself ready to be a vessel for this healing energy, you want to first clear the area around you. So all of us have like an ambiotic sac around us, so to speak. a spiritual one, that it's our space. It protects us from and connects us to the rest of the world, the rest of the universe. So as you're breathing in that time and you're all filled up, start to shine out your light in this room, this area, this ambiotic area, Zach. And as you shine the light out, you will see the area around you and envision what it might be for you. And all the darkness goes away, all the shadows fall away, the room or area is lit perfectly from all sides because you're lighting it with the light of God. You're cleaning and clearing yourself, you're cleaning and clearing the area around you, so you're getting ready to send this healing energy to help Soren Anderson. So now, once you're ready, we want to picture Soren floating. I have him floating like in the universe. You know, there's nebulas and stars around him. You can pick wherever you want. You don't want to have him on a bed of grass by a stream. It's up to you. Have him floating out there in what I call the armchair without the armchair. You're totally being rested and supported by the universe. Perfect position, perfect posture, perfect everything. You're sitting in there and you're at the center of the universe. And right now we're calling upon God and angels and beings of goodwill, people who are listening, both live and in the tape version, to now breathe in and send this energy to him. And visualize, as you're seeing him lying out in your healing area, visualize the streams of golden light, golden sunlight coming from all areas around him, kind of form like a cocoon of light around him. And what this is going to do is several. We have, I think it was 4 or 5 things. Is one, this energy is going to soak in, because it's the natural God energy that's normally comes from within. It's going to soak in and kind of backflush the system. It's going to open up, clear and clean. It's going to clean his area around him, like we did. It's going to soak in and open up his areas that go to the back channels that go to God. You're basically going in and flushing the area of his own connection to God that may have been neglected from illness, from medicine, from sorrow. Various things can kind of kink off those channels. Not all the way, because God still gets stuff in there. And God is very humble. He doesn't force his way into people's lives. This is where I differ a lot with some other people. So as we're doing this, it's going to open the channel. Secondly, we want to have this energy go through his entire being, metaphysical and physical being, down past the atoms, down past the quarks and muons, to go through and kind of like a big comb out the tangles in the energy, re-energize everything and balance it to be the exact frequency, however you want to say it, of Soren as he should be at this point in his life, healthy and whole. Kind of readjust everything. Everyone's got a frequency or some kind of a, like a turning a knob on a radio. We have a unique frequency, and it's in space and time. And we get out of harmony from various things and cause internal trouble and disease. So go through, we're asking God, the Holy Spirit, this intelligent energy to go through and kind of realign everything. And thirdly, we're going to ask that it bring to his conscious mind things that he needs to know and do to help him in his healing process. For example, if there's toxins in the environment, bring it to his mind. Have him catch a TV show or an article or somebody go, yeah, I heard about a guy who had this and he had this toxin in his house or whatever. Whatever it is, however it does, bring it to his mind so that he can consciously participate in this healing process. Whether it's things he can do or avoid, that can help. And we're still breathing and we're still sending. And the fourth thing is just charging him up with this energy. Charging him up with the healing, wonderful energy of God, like a big battery. And as we're charging him up with this energy, it's like a magnet that'll pull to him what he needs at this place and time for what he's going through. It's like the so-called law of attraction stuff, but in the real sense, where this energy will position himself to pull through space-time into reality things needed to him. And with the step 3, he recognizes those things when they come along. Charge him. And if he sees a doctor, this energy can leap off like a little lightning bolt and give the doctor his ideas. We're asking this from God. We're giving permission on his behalf to intervene in his life, to intervene in those around him for the highest best good of him and those around him. And that's what we're praying for. Jesus taught us and said, "For now you come to God through me, but I tell you there will be a time when you go directly to God." This is this time. Because of Jesus' work, we can connect with God, have our own personal relationship, and actually intervene for others and around the planet. So keep on sending the energy. And then when you are done, you just return your breath to normal. Open your eyes and feel the wonder of connecting with God and doing his work. We're to stand in the gap for everybody. We're to help people. And we're really to help people. And not just lip service, not politics. Help people. The real way, the real deal.
Greetings. Welcome to Dog Poet Transmitting and the Saucer Pod. Also greetings from the Arcturian Brotherhood and the Sirius Cluster. I'm glad to see you, my friends, in light of this new consciousness I seem to be experiencing. I can't make head or tail of it yet, but it apparently is making something out of me, so I'm not going to argue about it. I had a rough go over recent weeks. Mostly internally, there was not much going on outside, but there were displacing portions of myself, and sometimes I didn't even know who I was, which probably I didn't know in the first place. There you go. Well, at last, God knows. The one thing I know is nothing more important in life than one's relationship with the ineffable. I'd like to apologize for the condition of the audio in recent broadcasts, especially to one particular listener that I know will hear this. I'm not going to apologize for the state of the visual because I've never really seen the problem. But it's this webcam, and I checked it out earlier, and it seems to be operating okay. So let us hope that this will be an improvement. I tried to tweak it a little bit. And the good news is that next week I will have a more high-end camcorder in that I just haven't set up yet. I've had it for a bit, and it's very high def, so there'll be no more problems like that. Well, let's talk about the ineffable and less about me. I don't find myself all that important, certainly not by comparison. And the one thing that most people find the most difficult about the whole concept of the ineffable is the idea of an indwelling deity. The idea of God usually is in some faraway heaven, is an idol, is in a church, is a priest, God forbid, with a collection plate, in whatever it is that people imagine external to themselves. God is indwelling, and to my mind and in my experience, and I can't say absolutely, inside is the only place you are ever going to find God legitimately. Now, there are some who will say, well, I went to this location and I went to that location and I had this tremendous spiritual experience and it's there that I found God. Okay, you found a favorable environment, but I'm guessing you still found God within. This is a problem people have with gurus too. They'll go and they'll sit in front of the guru, and in some cases it's an illuminated guru, not often, rarely, but on occasion it is. And they will project the deity that is in the guru external to themselves. But the whole point, they're actually in front of the guru, and as far as the guru is concerned as well, is to awaken the indwelling within them, not to project it outward on to the teacher. But this is the case that so many people do, these guru whores, who go around and you sit in front of one guru after the other, and they lean on them, and they make them the daddy or mommy they're missing, whatever the case may be. But they're not going to find the ineffable until they recognize that the ineffable is indwelling. And the one thing that the guru really wants is for you to discover the indwelling deity, so the indwelling deity can grow in you, as I myself am presently experiencing, and force out of you all extraneous things we've come to rely upon as extensions of our personality, or factors in our memory, or having to do with our lives' experiences, things that we learned that we don't want to let go because we're absolutely sure they've taken us this far. And the truth is, we don't really know one way or the other. And you want to save yourself a world of trouble and allow all these dangerous illusions to be forced out of you, to allow the indwelling to awaken in you. God is an internal light, and you have to be like a miner and dig. And remember, if you're a miner, you have a headlamp on. And we might call that your intellect or your focus or your concentration or your intelligence, your attention or your awareness. But if you can learn how to turn this focus and attention to a certain intensity upon the ineffable, if it is at a particular degree, success will be speedy for the energetic. God is all that is real and resident in everything in one fashion or another, even in inanimate material matter, because God is everything. But the true consciousness and awareness of God, now that's a singular reality, but yet God is alive and real within every animate and inanimate thing, because this entire universe is an expansion of the body of God as it exists for the term period that manifest life exists until it all gets reeled back into the night of Brahma. We're talking about incredible reaches of time. And the only important part of God is the God that is part of you. It is such a simple thing, but my God, it is so hard. How else do you explain it? Taking so many lifetimes for people, to get the point. Part of it's looking in the wrong place, okay? And part of it is not looking at all. And part of it is thinking it's been found when in truth it finds you. Now, of course, you have to look intensely for God, the ineffable, but it is the ineffable who decides at one point, and at which point the ineffable will reveal itself to you. You can look and strive all you want, but and once again, as I said, it's the ineffable who decides when that comes about. And according to the degree of your sincerity and intensity, that determines the speed at which you get there. If it doesn't, then time, some measurements of time will come into play. Here's the key truth. It has to matter more than anything else. If you get that down, you've got it, okay? If you really would like to find the ineffable, and that is within yourself, you have only one duty, and that is to want it more than, duty to live correctly in a synod. The Eightfold Path comes into play. But you have one singular duty that expedites the entire affair. That is to want it more than anything else. And of course, eventually you will, because life is set up to break your heart. Life is set up to disappoint you continuously and nothing else. And it'll bring you to the sad state of affairs as you age. And you have no idea what aging can do to you, especially if you haven't lived correctly. Oh, believe me, I observe it, and thank God I don't have to experience it. Another thing that people don't get about the pursuit of the ineffable is that life is better in that regard. Life is so much better and much more meaningful with the ineffable as a part of it. Why then do people persist at everything else when in reality, everything else is insane? It is the force of materialism. That's what does it. And we need to recognize this. It is materialism that gets in the way. I live in a place now where a large percentage of the people play golf. There's a golf course here. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean that I've come into some great good fortune and I'm living at some upper level of things. No, that is not the case. Through some serendipitous occurrences and through the blessings of the ineffable, I find myself able to live in a situation, but not to be at the same economic level as these other people. But they don't know that, so I guess they assume I am. But here's the thing. They worked all their life just so that when they retired, they could play golf. And I kid you not upon this. This is an obsession. I've been invited to people's houses for cocktails or whatever you want to call it, or out by their pool or whatever the case may be. And this is all they talk about, and they really want to know if I play golf or not. And when I don't, you can see that it's just, part of their head's going, well, he's really not our sort, is he? Thank God for that. But yes, this is what they do. It becomes an iconic reality for them, and this is what they have to do. God is literally a deity to them. They worship it. It's involved in every aspect of what they do. And I know by this time that what I am telling you is absolutely correct. And to me, it's a very sad state of affairs. And I'm glad that's not the case with me. Not that I have anything wrong with playing golf, That's not the case. It's just a sad state of affairs. What is the reason that I do this every week? I'm not getting paid for it. I don't really get paid for any of this stuff that I do, and I do it almost all day long. One thing or another, one creative effort after another to celebrate the ineffable. And that's because there's no greater joy than service, and no greater service than that which is given to the ineffable. I only know this from experience, okay? And this is the best that I can tell you. Find a way to become selfless, and the way to do that is to make the ineffable the most important feature in your existence, and you are going to be in for some really big surprises. Okay, my friends, we've come to the end of another broadcast, and I will see you next week, if there is one. In the meantime, Hare Krishna, hail Lord Jesus Christ. Much love, Lady Nature. Micham Ambu, Guru Bawa. Inshallah. Om Amitabha. Greetings, my dear friend, Lord Ganesh. Carry on, Baha'u'llah, Aloha, and I run over, but I'm trying to condense the time down 3 minutes, so I think that's allowed for a little while. I'll see you later on.